by the international jets and the local runabouts. The vultures of world commerce descend on Zayed's little kingdom. They're perfectly decent vultures, just bankers and businessmen doing their job. $100 million a year is a nice piece of export market to get your hands on, especially when the place so obviously needs your help. 10 years ago, when I first came to Abu Dhabi, there was only one plane a week. Now there's more than one a day, and the old place can't quite cope.
You've been here before? I don't know. There's been quite some improvement here in 4 years since I've been here. I fully expect to see some floor shows when I get on into town.
With some striptease also?
Well, no, that's a little too much.
In Abu Dhabi town, at first sight, there isn't much sign of change. Jackpot's static rule left the town nearly as squalid as it always had been. And some of these people hardly know yet what's going to hit them, now Zayed's ready to spend his millions. The alleys are still dark and dirty. The beggars wait patiently for the faithful Muslims to do their duty as the Prophet ordained and give them alms. This is what Arabs call the souk, the bazaar or marketplace. And in Abu Dhabi, it's Bar Street and Fifth Avenue and the neighborhood supermarket all rolled into one. For the Arabs of the desert, it's got everything we mean by bright lights and the big city. It's not much of a place, but this is where 20,000 people are going to share Zayed's inheritance of $100 million a year. Some of them have got a share in it already. They've bought big cars to go bumping over the unmade tracks. Big lorries to cash in on the building boom. And they've also learned to throw them away, like all good modern men. There are 4- and 5-floor office blocks instead of shanties. And concrete instead of mud. The modern world, our world, is taking over. I remember, for instance, not long ago, when there wasn't a single bank in Abu Dhabi. Now, these buildings are all banks. Money in the bank means money to buy with, and the beach at Abu Dhabi is piled with purchases. Abu Dhabi was built on a sandbank, so it's never had a proper harbour. But that didn't matter much when there was nothing but a few dates to ship out and a few tins to ship in. Now the whole modern world is dumped into the sand. Air conditioners and deep freezers, timber and steel, cement and typewriters, fans and filing cabinets. You name it, and you'll find it here, sweeping in like a tidal wave on the old Arabian shore. We call these construction machines. They're also weapons of destruction. They can rip up an old road or knock down an old house even faster than they can build new ones. And in Arabia now they can and do tear an old way of life to shreds before a new one has properly begun. Not that many Arabs object. In fact, most of them are only too glad to help with the destruction of their old way of life. They can see the vision of a better life in a bulldozer, and they want a piece of it. Someone, though, must try to strike a balance between building the new and wrecking the old. That someone is the ruler, Zayed. Zayed knows from experience that if he's too slow to destroy the old world, he may be removed like his brother Sheikh. But if he tries to build the new world too quickly, he may destroy himself just as surely. Life for Zayed has become a perpetual balancing act between the personal leadership of the past and the faceless, impersonal administration of the future. Like Shakbut, he still holds his majlis every day, so that his people can meet him, greet him, talk to him and complain to him in the traditional desert way. The ritual is unchanged. The coffee is served. Time, motion, and people seem as leisurely as ever. But behind the appearance of tradition, the revolution is creeping in. The majlis doesn't last all morning anymore. Zayed can only give his people an hour of his time. And even that's interrupted by the demands of the modern world. Welcome to the international businessmen. Welcome to the salesmen, to the experts, to science and high finance. Maybe welcome to the con men, too, until Zayed learns to pick them from the rest. Of course, they all sit down together. And of course, they're all equal, East and West, the world and Arabia. The courtesies of the old world, mingling with the business of the new. But it's the newcomers in business suits who get the places of honor at Zayed's side. And not just because Arab hospitality demands they should be favored. They're there because they represent power. The power to provide the people of Abu Dhabi with anything Zayed can now afford to buy. Still, the ritual goes on, balancing the new with the old. The first thing a visitor must do in Arabia is to learn patience. You can sit for hours in places like this and never do anything but ask after each other's health. All in good time and all by the will of God. Never do today what you can put off till tomorrow. Never act if you can talk instead. The tribesman with a problem comes to Zayed to sort it out. And everybody else must wait. Patience and still more patience. But now there's $100 million of good hard cash burning a hole in patience every year. That's business that won't wait. It may be the will of God that's given it to Abu Dhabi, but it's the will of man, and especially the will of Zayed, that has to decide what to do with it now. Years after the oil began to flow, Abu Dhabi got nothing but piecemeal changes. Now Zayed has come to power with a plan to make Abu Dhabi the model state of Arabia, with all the paraphernalia of development. In the first few months of his rule, he awarded $70 million worth of contracts, and he's out every day to spur on the men who are making him a brand new kingdom.
Concrete, and this will be going out approximately a mile, and the second stage will be done next spring.